Elena looked at him gratefully. Over the past few days, Damien had become more than just a partner in revenge. He had become a friend. Someone who understood her pain and supported her choices. Someone who made her feel safe and valued. "Thank you," she said softly. "For everything. I don't think I could do this without you." "You're stronger than you think," Damien said, his blue eyes warm. "But I'm glad I can help." Their eyes met, and for a moment, something passed between them. Something that felt real, not pretend. Elena's heart beat faster, and she saw Damien's expression change, becoming more intense. Then his phone rang, breaking the moment. "I should take this," he said, sounding almost reluctant. "It's about the Henderson case." While Damien talked on the phone, Elena walked to the windows. The city spread out below her, full of millions of people living their lives. Just days ago, she had been one of them. An ordinary woman planning an ordinary wedding. Now she was caught up in a web of revenge and deception, pretending to date a billionaire, plotting to destroy the people who had betrayed her. But the strangest part was that she didn't feel like she was pretending anymore. Her feelings for Damien were becoming real. Confusingly, terrifyingly real. The business deal. 3 days later, Marcus's company held an emergency board meeting. They were trying to secure investment from several wealthy individuals, including Senator Williams and other people Elena had met at the charity gala. What Marcus didn't know was that Damien had gotten to all of them first. Elena sat in Damien's car outside the building where Marcus's company was located. They were waiting for the meeting to end. "This feels wrong," Elena said. "Like we're kicking someone when they're already down." "He kicked you when you were at your happiest," Damien reminded her gently. "On what should have been your wedding day." "He doesn't deserve your sympathy." "There's more," Damien continued. "Victoria has been working as his business partner. She helps him identify targets, women from wealthy families who might be vulnerable to his charm. She befriends them, gains their trust, then helps Marcus seduce them. It's a con they've been running together for at least 3 years. How did no one stop them before now?" Elena asked, horrified. "Because most victims are too ashamed to admit they were fooled," Damien said. "And the ones who do try to fight back get threatened or paid off. But we're not going to let that happen this time." Elena looked at the evidence spread across Damien's desk. All these women who had been hurt. All these families who had been manipulated. And Marcus and Victoria had just kept moving from victim to victim, destroying lives without consequence. "I want to help the other women," Elena said suddenly. "The ones Marcus hurt before. Can we contact them?" Damien smiled. "I was hoping you'd say that. I've already reached out to Caroline Henderson and 2 others. They're willing to come forward if they have protection from Marcus's threats. With your testimony and theirs, we can build a case that will destroy his reputation forever." "And Victoria?" Elena asked. "Your father needs to know the truth about her," Damien said. "Not just about Marcus but about everything. Her criminal record, her role in Marcus's schemes, how she's been using your family's name and money for her own benefit." Elena felt a twinge of guilt. Her father loved Victoria's mother, Sarah. Learning the truth about Victoria would hurt him. But he deserved to know what kind of person he had welcomed into their family. "I'll tell him," Elena decided. "But I need to do it in person. He deserves to hear it from me." "I'll go with you," Damien offered. "For moral support." Elena leaned forward to look at the screen. There were photographs, financial records, and what looked like police reports. "This is from 4 years ago," Damien explained. "Before Marcus met my sister. He was engaged to another woman, Caroline Henderson. She was an heiress like you. He convinced her to invest in his company, then broke off the engagement after he got the money. When Caroline tried to get her investment back, he threatened to ruin her reputation." Elena felt sick. "What happened to her?" "She sued him, but he settled out of court with an NDA," Damien said. "She can't talk about what he did. But I have contacts who helped me find the truth." "And Victoria?" Elena asked. "Was she involved then too?" "Not yet," Damien said. "Victoria came into the picture later. But look at this." He pulled up more files. "Victoria has a record of identity theft from when she was 18. She stole credit cards from her college roommate and ran up $50,000 in debt. The roommate's family was wealthy enough to make it go away quietly, but the records still exist. Elena sat back in her chair, processing all this information. They're not just selfish people. They're actual criminals. Yes, Damien said. And they've been getting away with it because they target people who are too embarrassed or too kind to fight back. People like you, like my sister, like Caroline Henderson. But that ends now. What's the next step? Elena asked. Damien pulled out another file. This is Marcus's current financial situation. His company is weeks away from bankruptcy. He owes money to several investors, including some very unforgiving people. He was counting on marrying you to get access to your father's money and business connections. Now that's not happening, he's desperate. Good, Elena said firmly. I won't be the one begging for forgiveness, Elena said. But you might be. When Daddy finds out what you did, he's going to cut you off. You and your mother will go back to having nothing. Is that a threat? Victoria stepped closer. It's a promise, Elena said. You took something from me. Now I'm going to take everything from you. Ladies, Damien interrupted smoothly, let's not cause a scene at a charity event. Marcus, Victoria, I believe you were just leaving. And Elena, our table is ready for dinner. He guided Elena away, leaving Marcus and Victoria standing in the middle of the dance floor looking humiliated. As they walked, Elena realized her hands were shaking. You did well, Damien said quietly. That was perfect. I feel sick, Elena admitted. I've never been confrontational like that before. You're stronger than you think, Damien said. And you're right. They did this to themselves. Now they're facing the consequences. The rest of the evening passed in a blur. Elena met dozens of important people, all curious about Damien's mysterious new girlfriend. She smiled, made small talk, and played her role perfectly. But inside, she kept thinking about Marcus's face when she rejected him, about Victoria's anger when Elena threatened her position in the family. Felt good. It felt powerful. But it also felt scary. Elena was changing into someone she didn't fully recognize yet. Secrets unveiled. 2 days after the gala, Elena sat in Damien's office at Cross Enterprises. The building was a gleaming tower of glass and steel, overlooking the entire city. Damien's office was on the top floor, with windows that showed the world spread out below them. I have something to show you, Damien said, opening a file on his computer. My investigators have been digging into Marcus and Victoria's past. What they found is disturbing. Elena, please, Marcus grabbed her arm. Just give me 5 minutes to explain. Damien stepped forward smoothly, removing Marcus's hand from Elena's arm. The lady doesn't want to talk to you. I suggest you respect that. Marcus finally seemed to notice Damien. His eyes widened with recognition and fear. Damien Cross. I didn't realize you two knew each other. We're dating, Elena said simply. And unlike you, Damien actually respects me. Dating. Marcus looked between them, disbelief on his face. You've been broken up with me for less than 24 hours, and you're already with someone else? Funny how that works, Damien said coldly. Almost like she had good reason to move on quickly. Something about finding her fiancé in bed with her stepsister. More people were listening now. Marcus looked around desperately, realizing they were becoming a scene. This is ridiculous, he hissed. Elena, you're making a fool of yourself. Running into the arms of the first rich man who shows you attention. Everyone knows Damien Cross doesn't do relationships. He's using you. And you weren't. Elena asked calmly. At least Damien is honest about what he wants. You lied to me for 3 years. Victoria appeared then, grabbing Marcus's arm. Come on, she said urgently. People are staring. Elena finally looked directly at her stepsister. Victoria looked beautiful as always, but there was something ugly in her expression. Something mean and petty. Hello, Victoria, Elena said pleasantly. How does it feel to be everyone's second choice? Victoria's face twisted with rage. You think you're so special now because you caught a billionaire on the rebound? He'll get bored of you in a week. Then you'll come crawling back to Daddy, begging for forgiveness. You're a good dancer, Elena observed. So are you, Damien replied. Where did you learn? My mother, Elena said softly. Before she died, she taught me to dance. She said every woman should know how to waltz at formal events. She was right, Damien said. And she'd be proud of you tonight. Standing up for yourself. Fighting back. Elena felt tears prick her eyes but blinked them away. Thank you. That means more than you know. They continued dancing, and Elena became aware of how close they were. How strong Damien's arms felt. How good he smelled, like expensive cologne and something uniquely him. She found herself wondering what it would be like if this was real. If Damien actually wanted her. Not just as part of a revenge plan, but as a real girlfriend. Elena. Damien's voice brought her back to reality. Sorry, I was just thinking, she said. About what? About how strange life is, Elena said honestly. Yesterday I was supposed to marry Marcus. Today I'm dancing with you, pretending to be your girlfriend, plotting revenge. It feels like a movie. Life is stranger than fiction, Damien agreed. But this movie has a happy ending. I promise you that. Martinez. The senator's eyebrows rose. Any relation to Richard Martinez of Martinez Architecture? He's my father, Elena said, shaking his hand confidently. Wonderful man, the senator said. We've done several projects together. Does he know his daughter is dating the most eligible bachelor in the city? Not yet, Damien said smoothly. We wanted to enjoy our privacy for a while before making any formal announcements. You understand. The senator winked. Of course. Your secret is safe with me. Enjoy the evening, you too. He walked away, already pulling out his phone. Within minutes, Elena knew. The news would spread through the entire event. There goes our privacy, she said. That was the plan, Damien reminded her. By tomorrow morning, every newspaper and gossip website will be talking about us. Marcus and Victoria will wake up to see your face next to mine on every social media feed. My father will see it too, Elena said, suddenly nervous. I haven't talked to him since the wedding. Do you want to? Damien asked gently. Elena thought about it. Her father had always been distant, more focused on business than family. When he remarried 5 years ago, bringing Victoria and her mother into their lives, Elena had tried to be welcoming. She wanted her father to be happy, but he had never noticed how Victoria competed with her for everything. How her stepsister slowly tried to take over Elena's place in the family. Not yet, Elena decided. Let him read about it in the newspapers like everyone else. Fair enough, Damien said. Now let's dance. Marcus is still watching, and I want to give him a show. He led her onto the dance floor just as the orchestra began playing a slow waltz. Damien's hand settled on her waist, and Elena placed her hand on his shoulder. They moved together naturally, as if they had danced together many times before. The charity gala ballroom sparkled with crystal chandeliers and elegantly dressed guests. Elena walked beside Damien, her arm linked with his, feeling like she had stepped into a different world. Everyone who was anyone in the city attended this event. Business leaders, politicians, celebrities, and socialites filled the room. Smile, Damien whispered in her ear. Marcus is watching from near the champagne fountain. Third pillar on the left. Elena did not look immediately. Instead, she laughed at something Damien had not actually said, touching his arm affectionately. She had learned this trick from watching actresses in movies. Make your ex think you're having the time of your life without them. He looks like he's seen a ghost, Damien murmured, glancing casually in Marcus's direction. And Victoria is with him. She's wearing green. Appropriate color for jealousy. Now Elena allowed herself to look. There they were. Marcus in his second-best tuxedo, the one he always wore to events like this because he was saving the expensive one for more important occasions. Beside him stood Victoria, her expression frozen between shock and fury. Their eyes met across the ballroom. Elena smiled sweetly and waved. Then she turned back to Damien, effectively dismissing them. That was cold, Damien said with approval. I like it. I learned from the best, Elena replied. You did say to trust you. And do you? Damien asked, something serious in his blue eyes. I'm here, aren't I? Elena answered. Before Damien could respond, an older gentleman approached them. He was distinguished-looking, with silver hair and an expensive watch that probably cost more than Elena's car. "Damien Cross," the man said warmly. "I heard you were bringing a mystery woman tonight. The rumors don't do her justice." "Senator Williams," Damien shook his hand. "Allow me to introduce Elena Martinez. Elena, this is Senator Robert Williams, one of the main sponsors of tonight's charity." "I learned from the best," Elena said, meeting his gaze. "Your sister survived too. She's still fighting." Damien's expression softened. "Yes, she is. And after tonight, she'll have one less demon to fight. We're going to make sure Marcus and Victoria can never hurt anyone else again." The car pulled up to the Grand Hotel. Flashbulbs went off as photographers captured the arrivals. Damien stepped out first, then offered his hand to help Elena from the car. The moment she emerged in her red dress, cameras went crazy. Reporters shouted questions. "Mr. Cross, who is your date? Is this your new girlfriend? What's your name, miss?" Damien put his arm around Elena's waist, pulling her close. "Gentlemen, ladies, this is Elena Martinez, my girlfriend. Now, if you'll excuse us, we have a charity event to support." They walked into the hotel together, and Elena could feel hundreds of eyes on them. But she kept her head high and her smile confident. This was her new life now. The life of a woman who refused to be a victim. Somewhere in that crowd, Marcus and Victoria were watching. And they were about to learn that Elena Martinez was not the weak, forgiving person they thought she was. The game had begun, and Elena was playing to win. "For our first public appearance tonight. The charity gala at the Grand Hotel. I'll pick you up at 7. Wear the red dress. Trust me. D." Elena pulled out the red dress. It was stunning. Sleek, sophisticated, and definitely expensive. She held it up to herself in the mirror. This was not something the old Elena would wear. The old Elena wore safe colors and modest styles. But the old Elena had gotten her heart broken and her life destroyed. Maybe it was time for a new Elena. She spent the day pampering herself. She got her hair cut into a more modern style. She practiced walking in the high heels Damien had sent. She read articles about Cross Enterprises and Damien's business empire. If she was going to play the role of his girlfriend, she needed to be convincing. At exactly 7 o'clock, there was another knock. Elena opened the door to find Damien in a perfectly tailored tuxedo. He looked even more handsome than she remembered. "You look incredible," he said, his blue eyes appreciating the red dress. "Thank you," Elena replied. "You clean up pretty well yourself. Ready to make your debut as my girlfriend?" Damien offered his arm. Elena took it, feeling a thrill of excitement and nervousness. "Ready as I'll ever be." They rode in Damien's private car to the charity gala. On the way, he briefed her on what to expect. "Marcus and Victoria will definitely be there," he said. "Marcus has been trying to connect with the donors at this event for months. He doesn't know yet that I'm the one who controls most of the funding. When he sees us together, it's going to destroy him." "Good," Elena said firmly. "He deserves it." Damien looked at her with something like approval. "You're stronger than you think, Elena Martinez. They tried to break you, but you're still standing. That's admirable." "We part ways as friends," Damien said, "unless we decide to continue the arrangement. But the goal is to completely ruin their reputations and business prospects within that time. They'll lose everything, just like they tried to make you lose everything." Elena thought about Marcus's face when he saw her in the bedroom with Victoria. She thought about all the lies he had told her, all the time she had wasted on someone who never truly loved her. And poor Damien's sister, who had suffered even more. "I want them to feel the pain they caused," Elena said quietly. "I want them to understand what it's like to lose everything. Then we have a deal?" Damien extended his hand again. Elena looked at his hand for a long moment. This was crazy. She had just met this man, but something about him felt right. He understood her pain because he had experienced similar betrayal. And he had the power and resources to actually make Marcus and Victoria pay for their crimes. "We have a deal," Elena said, shaking his hand firmly, crossing the line into darkness. The next morning, Elena woke up in a luxury hotel suite. Damien had insisted she stay somewhere safe and comfortable while she figured out her next steps. She could not return to the apartment she had shared with Marcus. She could not face her father yet. She needed time to think and plan. Her phone had 53 missed calls, 20 from her father, 15 from Marcus, 10 from Victoria, the rest from friends and relatives who had been at the church. She deleted all the voicemails without listening to them. There was a knock at the door. Elena opened it to find a hotel staff member holding several shopping bags. "Delivery from Mr. Cross," the woman said with a smile. "He said you might need some clothes and essentials." Elena took the bags, amazed. Inside were beautiful outfits, shoes, makeup, and even a new phone. There was also a note in elegant handwriting. Damien explained. "Marcus will realize he lost you to someone much more successful. Victoria will see that you're not the boring, predictable person she thought you were. Meanwhile, I'll slowly destroy Marcus's business opportunities, and will expose Victoria's true nature to your father and high society." "And what do you get out of this?" Elena asked. Damien's expression darkened. "My own revenge. Marcus and Victoria aren't just con artists. 3 years ago, they ran a similar scheme on my sister. She was engaged to Marcus before you. Victoria befriended her, pretended to support the relationship, then seduced Marcus behind her back. When my sister discovered the truth, she was so devastated that she tried to take her own life. She survived, but she's never been the same." Elena felt sick. "Oh my God. I had no idea." "No one did," Damien said. "They moved to a different city after that and started over. Fresh victims, same game. I've been watching them for a year, waiting for the right moment to make them pay. You appearing in my life tonight is perfect timing." Elena looked into her empty glass. Everything had changed so quickly. This morning, she was about to marry the man she loved. Tonight, she was sitting with a billionaire stranger who wanted to help her get revenge. "What exactly would this contract involve?" she asked carefully. "Nothing inappropriate," Damien assured her. "We would appear in public together. Hold hands, act affectionate, convince everyone we're a couple. I'll introduce you to my business world. We'll make Marcus and Victoria believe you've moved on to someone better. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, I'll be cutting off their opportunities and exposing their lies. And after 6 months? 49038. Cross Enterprises?" Elena's eyes widened. "You're that Damien Cross? The billionaire?" "Guilty," Damien smiled, but it did not reach his eyes. "And I also know your stepsister Victoria. She attended several of my company events, always trying to network her way into deals." "That sounds like her," Elena said bitterly. "Always looking for the next opportunity." Damien turned to face her fully. "What if I told you I could help you get revenge? What if I could help you make them pay for what they did?" Elena's heart beat faster. "What do you mean?" "I mean a partnership," Damien said. "You help me with something I need, and I'll help you destroy Marcus and Victoria's plans. Professionally, socially, and financially." "Why would you help me?" Elena asked suspiciously. "You don't even know me." Damien's blue eyes grew cold. "Because Marcus Bennett and your stepsister aren't the innocent victims they pretend to be. They've hurt other people too. And I have my own reasons for wanting to see them fail." A dangerous proposal. Over the next hour, Damien explained his plan. Marcus's company needed investment to survive. He had made some bad business decisions and was nearly bankrupt. That's why he had been pursuing Elena, not for love, but for access to her father's money and connections. Victoria had been helping Marcus network with wealthy individuals, trying to save his failing company. She had been sleeping with him for months, even while he was engaged to Elena. "Here's what I propose," Damien said. "You and I enter into a contract. For the next 6 months we pretend to be in a relationship. A serious one. We attend events together, make public appearances, and let everyone believe we're falling in love." "Why?" Elena asked, confused. "Because it will make Marcus and Victoria jealous and desperate." Elena found herself at a hotel bar 2 hours later. She had changed out of her wedding dress and into jeans and a simple black shirt. She had washed off her makeup. Her hair hung loose around her shoulders. She ordered a whiskey and sat at the corner of the bar, trying to process what had happened. "Rough day?" a deep voice asked beside her. Elena looked up to see a man sitting on the next bar stool. He was tall, probably over 6 feet, with dark hair and striking blue eyes. He wore an expensive black suit that fit him perfectly. He looked like he belonged on the cover of a business magazine. "You could say that," Elena replied, taking a sip of her whiskey. It burned going down, but she welcomed the feeling. "Let me guess," the stranger said, ordering his own drink. "Someone betrayed you. Someone you trusted." Elena studied him more carefully. "How did you know?" "I recognize that look," he said. "I've worn it myself." He extended his hand. "Damian Cross." "Elena Martinez," she said, shaking his hand. His grip was firm and warm. "Martinez." Damian's eyes showed recognition. "As in Martinez Architecture and Development?" "That's my father's company," Elena confirmed. "I'm an architect there. Or I was. I'm not sure I want to go back now." "Because of the betrayal," Damian said. It was not a question. Elena found herself telling him everything. Maybe it was the whiskey. Maybe it was because he was a stranger and she would never see him again. But she told him about Marcus, about Victoria, about finding them together on what should have been her wedding day. Damian listened without interrupting. When she finished, he was quiet for a moment. "I know Marcus Bennett," he finally said. "His company has been trying to land a contract with Cross Enterprises for months. I've been considering it." "Elena." Marcus scrambled to cover himself. "This isn't what it looks like." "Really?" Elena's voice was surprisingly calm. "Because it looks like you're in bed with my stepsister on our wedding day." Victoria pulled the sheet around herself. Unlike Marcus, she did not look ashamed. She looked almost pleased. "Elena, I can explain." "Don't bother." Elena pulled the engagement ring from her finger. The diamond caught the light one last time before she threw it at Marcus. It bounced off his chest and fell to the floor. "The wedding is cancelled. You two deserve each other." She turned and walked out, her head held high. But inside, her heart was breaking into 1,000 pieces. Ashes of everything she knew. Elena did not cry until she reached her car. Then the tears came like a flood. 3 years of her life wasted. She had trusted Marcus completely. She had welcomed Victoria into her home when her father remarried. And they had both betrayed her in the worst way possible. She drove to the church, but not to get married. She needed to tell everyone the truth. The guests were already seated. Beautiful white flowers decorated every surface. A string quartet played soft music. Everyone stood when they saw her enter, expecting the ceremony to begin. Elena walked to the front where the minister waited. Her father stood there too, looking confused. "There will be no wedding today," Elena announced, her voice echoing through the church. "Marcus Bennett is not the man I thought he was. He has betrayed me with my own stepsister. I'm sorry you all came for nothing." Gasps and whispers filled the church. Her father's face turned red with anger. Some guests looked shocked. Others looked uncomfortable. But Elena did not care. She had told the truth. That was all that mattered. She walked back down the aisle out of the church and drove away. She did not know where she was going. She just needed to escape. The mysterious stranger. The discovery that changed everything. 30 minutes before the ceremony, Elena realized she had forgotten her grandmother's bracelet. The silver bracelet with tiny emeralds was a family treasure. Her grandmother had worn it on her wedding day, and so had her mother. Elena wanted to wear it too. "I'll be right back," she told her bridesmaids. "I left something at Marcus's apartment." His apartment was only 10 minutes from the church. Marcus had given her a key months ago. She could grab the bracelet quickly and return before anyone noticed she was gone. Elena drove through the city streets, her wedding dress filling the passenger seat. She parked outside Marcus's building and took the elevator to the 10th floor. Her heart raced with excitement. In less than an hour, she would be Mrs. Bennett. She unlocked the door quietly, not wanting to startle anyone if Marcus had left someone there to finish preparations. The apartment was silent. Afternoon sunlight streamed through the windows. Elena walked toward the bedroom where she had left the bracelet on the nightstand. But as she got closer, she heard sounds. Voices. A woman's laugh followed by a man's deep voice. Her hand froze on the door handle. "We should stop," the man's voice said. "The wedding is in less than an hour." "So what?" the woman replied. "You don't really love her, Marcus. You told me yourself. You're only marrying her for her father's money and connections." Elena's blood turned to ice. "Keep your voice down," Marcus hissed. "And you're right. Elena is nice but boring. Not like you, Victoria. You understand me. You're exciting." Elena pushed open the door. The scene before her was like something from a nightmare. Marcus and Victoria were in bed together. Her fiancé and her stepsister. They jumped apart when they saw her, their faces pale with shock. The wedding that never was. Elena Martinez stood before the full-length mirror in her white wedding dress. The silk fabric hugged her body perfectly. Tiny pearls sparkled along the neckline like stars in the night sky. Today was supposed to be the happiest day of her life. Today she would marry Marcus Bennett, the man she had loved for 3 years. "You look beautiful, sister," a voice said from behind her. Elena turned to see Victoria, her stepsister, standing in the doorway. Victoria wore a pink bridesmaid dress. Her blonde hair fell in perfect waves around her shoulders. She smiled, but something about that smile made Elena feel uncomfortable. "Thank you, Victoria," Elena replied softly. "Is everything ready downstairs?" "Almost," Victoria said, walking closer. "The guests are arriving. Marcus should be at the church already. You know how he is about being on time." Elena nodded. Marcus was always punctual. It was one of the things she loved about him. He was organized, successful, and reliable. At 30 years old, he had built his own marketing company from nothing. Her father, Richard Martinez, approved of the marriage. Everything seemed perfect. But Elena felt a strange weight in her chest. Something she could not explain. "I need to check on the flowers," Victoria said quickly. "I'll see you at the church." She hurried out of the room before Elena could respond. Elena looked at herself in the mirror again. Her dark hair was styled in an elegant updo. Her makeup was flawless. But her brown eyes looked worried. She shook her head, trying to push away the negative feelings. This was just wedding day nerves. Every bride felt this way. She picked up her phone from the dresser. One message from Marcus sent 2 hours ago. "Can't wait to see you, my love." Elena smiled. Everything would be fine.